Every town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Hey everyone, happy Thursday night. We are live here at the Ghost Biker Garage, and I am your host, the Ghost Biker, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight, and I'm excited that you chose to tune in and watch tonight's show. So we are quickly approaching Christmas and quickly approaching the new year. So I know a lot of people have a lot going on. So I can't tell you how much it means that you choose to spend your time here listening to me talk about things that's going on, as well as listen to my guests that I have on the show tonight. So just want to say hello to some folks that are over here in the chat room. We've got Professional Paranormal Research. They are new here and they are a friend of Vickie's, who is tonight's guest. Hello to Miss Sonia Thompson over. I know she's out traveling. So hello. Thank you for tuning in, Mr. Daryl Paulette. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Carl Gerald, thank you all so much for watching tonight. If anyone has a question for myself or tonight's guest, I ask that you put them in the comments section there. And if you don't mind, put it in all caps, just so that I make sure that I don't miss your comment or your question as we're going throughout the show. Hello, Mr. James Brady. Excuse me. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And Kim Brady, hello. Hope you all are doing well. If you watched last week's show, we jumped back on with having guests, and in fact, let me just mute my phone here because that thing's going to vibrate all through the show. If you watched last week's show, I had the beautiful ladies from the Ghost Hunting Housewives out of Alabama and Louisiana. They joined me. We picked up having guests last week, for a little while, for about 6 weeks. We were doing the live season 6 and doing the behind the screams on that. So it's really fun and really cool to be able to pick back up having guests on the show. Hopefully soon we'll be able to continue with the live investigations. I know we're going to be doing more of those. That is probably actually not going to happen until the start of the year, because we've had a whole lot of stuff going on. And, sometimes that's hard this time of year to squeeze all of that in. Also, on Thursday nights, we picked back up on the Jailhouse Informant podcast live from the historic Scott County Jail with myself and my co-host and business partner, Dr. Christy Sumner. Tonight, we had Miss Annie Patterson, who is the operations manager at Historic Rugby, Inc. And we talked about all the really cool things that's going on over at Historic Rugby and our partnership with them, and the investigations that is going to be taking place here at the first of the year, as well as the different tours and stuff that we do. And then just the exciting things that Historic Rugby, Inc. has. So if you feel so inclined, please go watch that. You can watch that live on the Historic Scott County Jail Facebook page, and you can watch the replay there on Historic Scott County Jail on YouTube. Now, that's going to be on every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So kind of pulling double duty here with the Ghost Biker Garage and the Jailhouse Informant. So if you're looking for some interesting things to watch, you can fill your Thursday evening with that. A couple really cool things. I do want to say thank you to my dear friends, Shell and Trista Poth. They made me this beautiful tumbler here. I absolutely love it. I know that we got some reflection going on there, but it's got my logo and my favorite color, green, on it. So thank you for the wonderful Christmas present. I just adore them. I met them down at the Deep South Paracon last year and got to see them again at the Deep South Paracon there in Ozark, Alabama earlier this year. So thank you all so much for your kindness, for your support, and for your friendship. I am joined by several cats here, apparently. This is Bandit. And so I'm sure several other of my kitties will be making their appearance during the show tonight. Couple other things that I want to make sure to mention while before we get to tonight's guest. I do want to mention that at the historic Scott County Jail, we have opened up our paranormal bookings for 2024. And so you can book your private paranormal investigation at Tennessee's award-winning and one of the most haunted locations here in Tennessee for 2024. We do have the schedule open until the end of August, and we will be opening September through December, in late January, early February, once Chris and I get all of our schedule officially put out there and get all of that finalized. But we are doing a special offer through January 2nd through May 10th. We're calling those the dark months. And those, we're taking advantage of that extra hour of darkness. And thank you, Chris. I'm pulling up the link here to our website at historicscottcojail.com. That's where you can go on and book. But we're taking advantage of that extra hour of darkness. And from January 2nd to March 10th, for the for the price of a typical paranormal investigation, you will get the jail for 2 extra hours. You will get it from 7:30 at night until 4 a.m. We're including that 3 o'clock hour. And then also we have opened it up. Typically, you can investigate Thursdays through Sundays, but we've opened it for 7 days a week. And so you can come in and you can book that any of those nights and take advantage if you want to do a weekday investigation, or if you prefer to do a weekend. We will have all 7 days open until March 10th. So definitely go on there and check that out. Get your booking in now. We have been booking up rather quick lately, and so we do have a couple. We announced this, I believe it was on Sunday night that we announced it. We officially opened the calendar on early Friday morning, and we made the announcement on Saturday night. So go ahead and excuse me, go ahead and get those bookings in, because we have had a couple people book already. We've also opened up the calendar for Historic Rugby Inc., where you can investigate the historic village of Rugby. And if you want to know more information about Rugby, go on and check out historicrugby.com. Or excuse me, I'm sorry. Go on and check out our site, historyhighwayshaunts.com, and that's where you can find a link to the jail, find a link to Historic Rugby After Dark. You can book those investigations. You can also book guided ghost hunts. If you aren't a member of a team and want to have a shorter investigation, you can go on and book that on there, as well as make an appointment for one of our lantern tours under the Historic Rugby After Dark pages. So definitely go on, check that out. So we just kind of looking here at the comments and stuff. Real excited about tonight's guest coming on. I know that we've got a lot of her friends that are tuning in tonight, so really glad to see you guys here. Just double check and make sure there's not anything else. So definitely, if you're wanting to book an investigation there at the jail or book an investigation at Rugby, you can find that on the historyhighwayshaunts.com page. Also here, let me pull up on this. We do have our guided Ghosts of the Past at Christmas walks that we're doing at the jail. We're offering those every weekend through the month of December, and that will be included in the weekend between Christmas and New Year's. And so that is an hour-long tour through the Christmas lights of Huntsville, Tennessee, where we share the history and the haunts of the area. And then it ends with a tour of the historic Scott County Jail, where we share the history, some of the captures that some of our investigators have caught there. And in fact, tonight's guest is one of the investigative captures that we do highlight on this tour. And, we share video, audio, and talk about the ghost stories that are captured there at the jail. And that is a special tour that you do get during the month of December, where we take you through the Christmas lights. So all of that can be booked on historicscottcojail.com. We've got all those dates available. And if you're interested in doing an escape room, we've got that up as well. We've got those dates and times there on the calendar. If there is a date or time on the calendar that you would like to either investigate or you'd like to do an escape room and you don't see that date on there, give us a call and we may be able to work that out for you. But I want to go ahead, get to tonight's guest because I know we've got some really cool things to talk about. And she's brought some amazing evidence that we're going to go through and chat about as well. I've known Vickie for several years now, and it's just been a real blessing and a real pleasure to get to know her and to watch her through her paranormal journey. She is a solo investigator just like myself. And so we're going to be talking about that and so much more. So if you will, help me welcome my friend and fellow investigator, Miss Vickie Norris from Reflections of the Paranormal. Hey, Vickie.
Hi, guys. Hi, Miranda. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. I know right now is kind of a busy time, and so we really appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight.
Absolutely.
So, I can see we've got some of your friends there in the chat room, and so if you will, Vickie, just kind of I don't feel that my introduction is going to do it justice. So why don't you tell us who you are and how you got involved in the paranormal?
Okay. Well, I am a stay-at-home mom, and I homeschool my kids during the day. I ghost hunt at night. Um, I had experiences as a child, and with the experiences that I had, and I had my associate's science degree that kind of landed me into going into the paranormal. Um, you know, I just have a real strong passion for it because if you know me, I'm very spiritual and I'm very open minded. And so it's kind of hard to find someone who's real strong in faith, who's very spiritual, who's also open minded to the paranormal because they tend to want to put that block up. But I don't, I don't know, like I'm very open minded, but I'm still skeptic. Like, your investigator, we're always trying to debunk, right? So even when I see it, I still got to debunk it or try and find a cause or a solution. And then if we do get something, then typically I'll list it as interesting until I get 2 or 3 more pieces to go with it. Then I can claim it's paranormal. But like I just have a passion for it. I love the history of these places. A lot of these places, without us going there, they would fall into disrepair.
Yeah.
So, our money, our time, us going and learning the history that's lost, that is what keeps a lot of these places alive. You know it as well as I do.
Yes.
But, you got so many paranormal investigators out there. And yes, it is fun, but you got to have a passion for it because it is all about trying to see what evidence you can get, what research you can get to back it up, because there is so much that's lost and there's so many stories that need to be told still. And these historic locations need our help, because they're amazing. They're amazing places and we need to keep these around for generations. So
Absolutely. And it's such an interesting way to get people who might not be in it for the history or they may not have an interest in history. It's an interesting and unique way to get people interested in history.
yes, it definitely broadens the minds. I mean,
Absolutely.
you take people who is interested in speaking with the people who's crossed over and learning their stories, but their stories still coincide with the histories and the timeline events of that structure or the land. So if you can find the evidence to back up the structure, the land, a time frame, a first name, a last name, and even a birthday, if you can get a first name and a birthday, or even if you go into a hospital, you get a patient's name, you get a nurse's name, you get a doctor's name, and you can link those together, then you can get even more evidence.
Have
So,
you had some places where you've been able to find answers to the history based on some of your paranormal findings that you've had, or maybe be able to fill in those blanks that maybe people didn't know about until you did an investigation there and found some information?
Yeah, I have, luckily. Um, there we was at Octagon Hall one night, and actually, as a matter of fact, I was overseeing a novice hunt that night. And so one of the groups that we had brought in, I had them out and we were doing ours. We ended up getting first name, we ended up getting last name, we got what rank he was in the military. We were able to do a Google search. We were able to pull him up, first, middle, last name, where he was from. I mean, that in itself, and that was this just this October. So that in itself was so amazing when you can look and you can see a first name, a middle name. Of course, we didn't get the middle name, but we did get the
Mhm.
first name. A little bit later, we got the last name. We got the rank. He told us, between Confederate Union, he told us, and so we were able to get all that, and that was such a blessing. Um, and personally, like I got really hyped up over it. You know what I'm saying? It's like because a lot of times, and you know as well as I do, how hard it is to get a first name and a last name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And to be
So,
able to match it up, I mean, what an
right.
incredible find.
But even better was the experience was sorry, I was bouncing my leg.
No,
The
you're fine.
experience with these novice hunts are people that typically have never done paranormal.
Yes.
So you bring them in and you're training them and you're teaching them and you're showing them the correct way of doing it. And then they get overly excited because they're like, oh, look, here's a puzzle piece. I get to put this together and look what I did. So
Yeah.
getting to look at them and watch them be a part of that, that's, I mean, that's just the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, because you can literally see it on people's faces and see the reaction when they've never experienced something like that before, and then when they also see that it's not always that terrifying and scary experience. I mean, yeah, there's
Mm.
nothing wrong with the jump scares and the intensity. I mean, we all kinda like to be scared, but
Yeah.
when you're able to validate that history and get that really cool Class A evidence, I
Yes.
mean, that's nothing beats that.
I'm right there with you. Honey, it's like, I don't know. I love it. I love it.
Well, we've got some comments and some questions here, and I definitely agree with Chris. She says, I love the passion that Vicky has for the paranormal. Plus, she's one of the nicest people in the field. And,
Oh, I love
that's
you.
one of the cool things because we've got to investigate with you before.
Mhm.
And I don't think I honestly don't think I've met anyone that shares the passion for the investigating and the paranormal like you do.
Oh, I love you, ladies. I love investigating with y'all, though. I mean, y'all have your own unique way, and then you tie it in together. And I absolutely love that. I remember when y'all were doing the research that time, and we investigated, and we had the Sheilas with us and Nikki with us.
Oh,
Remember?
yes.
And like all three of us got down under the box, and we were trying to figure out what was triggering it. I love that. That was amazing because you, good investigators you'll see it with, but you don't see it with everybody. And
You don't, because and especially being a location owner and stuff, when something happens that everyone's experiencing, man, you wanna be there and you wanna be like, "Yep, that's my location, and yep, it's active." But you wanna do that, but then on the flip side, you wanna look and you wanna say, "Okay, what could be causing this?" And, either essentially trying to figure it out and trying to debunk it, or trying to find out a logical explanation for what's going on. I mean, that's more rewarding than anything because, because you don't know what's going on. And really looking into it, I think that's the right way to do it.
I absolutely agree because the thing of it is, when you can't come up with a cause to an effect, when
Mhm.
you can't see what's causing it, and there's no way you can prove something to trigger it or, anything, to me, shoot, that's my high for the night. It's like, holy crap,
Yes.
okay, I can't debunk this. I've really got something, that just wow.
Absolutely. And James Brady says names are sometimes the hardest thing to get.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, this is kind of my thought on that. Okay, you know how we always know that we go up in to a location. It's like walking into somebody's house, right?
Yes.
This is the first time we're meeting them. Well, you imagine going up into a stranger's house saying, "Hey, what's your name? Tell me your first name. Tell me your serial rank. Tell me your last name." I mean, how many people is going to actually give you all that personal information? So you have to build up their repertoire with the spirits, and you have to continually go back.
Mhm.
So when you do actually get a first name, a last name, that's a cherry on the top. So,
Yes. Absolutely. Chris asks, she says, what is your favorite investigation tool to use?
hmm, mine's tied. So it would be my body
Hmm.
and my quarter. I believe that God gives us all intuition,
Hmm.
and all people are sensitive to a certain degree. Some are more open there than others, some are less. They shut themselves down. But I believe if you go into a location, it's just like that fight or flight. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Sometimes in life you'll get that fight or flight. Well, sometimes, hi Chris, sometimes you will go into these buildings and you'll get that creep effect feeling, or you get that chill, or you get the goosebumps on your arm, or you get the spider web effect, and you know a spirit's touching you. I love that.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And then nothing beats a recorder. Because if you know that you go in a place and you've got two women or three women and you get a male voice, or if you go in and you're by yourself and you get another voice, or you go in and you're like, a man and a woman and you get a third or a second male voice, which would be a third person,
Hmm.
there's no debunking that because you know who's in there with you. That's
Hmm.
amazing to me.
Or you go into a bathroom at a location and don't turn your recorder off and then get a man's voice in there.
Yes. I love that. That is my absolute favorite EVP that I got from down there at y'all's place. I
And we're
absolutely
definitely going to play that here in just a little bit too, because to me, that's such an incredible capture. And when we play that for people on our tours,
I didn't know
they're
y'all
like, we do, we
do.
do. Yeah, yours is that we always play it there at the drunk tank, and you get so many incredible compliments on that because I mean there's no I mean we've tried to debunk that, with you and stuff, and I mean there was no man in the bathroom with you.
No, no. And here's the thing, there was nobody downstairs
No.
at all. But even like I don't know if you tell other people, but I have came back, I
Mhm.
think, three other times,
Yeah.
and I tried to see if it was a residual or if
Mhm.
it was intelligent. And because we talked and I told you I'm going to go back in during this time frame to see if I can
Yep.
catch it again. And that's what we do. Because
Mhm.
it's three sentences, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing when you get more than one word, but when you get like three different sentences, and you go back time and time again to see if you can check to see if it's a residual or if it was a time loop or whatever. I mean, look, I still get excited over it. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I say while we're talking about it, why don't we just go ahead and play that one while we're talking about it if you're good with that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So just to kind of set that up, Vicky is, as I'd said earlier, she is a solo investigator who often collaborates with many amazing investigators in the field. And this was one where she had come to the historic Scott County Jail. And I believe this was your first time there, wasn't it?
That was my first time, and I was with the Sheilas and Nikki. Um, excuse me. The Sheilas and Nikki were upstairs on the second floor. And
Mhm.
I actually told the ladies, I was like, I'm going downstairs. I got to use the bathroom. Of course, you know me. I take my recorder everywhere and I
Yes.
leave it running. I took it into the bathroom. I go into the bathroom. I'm like, hey, spirits, I'm coming in here. If you're in here, I got this device. Go ahead and talk into it. Don't mind me. I'm going to pop a squat and take care of business. And Y'all come and have a chit chat with me. And they did.
They did, and I mean, it's incredible. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play it, and, you guys let us know what you think. So let me get that queued up here. Here we go. I mean, that
That accent, that
yes,
is what gets me.
yes. I mean, it is so clear. I mean, you can hear a Tennessee accent right there. We believe probably a corrections officer, or somebody that was barking orders because, for those of you all that have not visited the jail, the bathroom is in our former drunk tank. The drunk tank was used obviously as a drunk tank, but then also as solitary confinement as well. And I mean, because you didn't hear that in the moment.
No, no. I'd have been saying, "Hey, everybody, look what I done heard." But I didn't bring
Exactly.
nobody in there with me. But the next day, I was going through it, and as soon as I heard it, I called you and Chris. I was like, "Holy cow! I've got the Holy Grail. Y'all ain't gonna believe what I got." So, and then
And
I sent it to Chris. Chris sent it to you, and it was the whole domino effect. What's she say?
yeah, so, Sonia, she's one that did one of our tours, and she said that recording was one of my favorites from the tour. Congratulations on a great capture, Vickie.
Thank you,
And
hon.
and as, Chris says, we share that bathroom EVP on every tour, and it's so funny because whenever we share that, we always tell people that, before the tour starts, we ask them if they need to go to the bathroom or anything. We don't tell them that's one of our most haunted areas in the building, and so then after they've gone and after we've gone through the first quarter of our tour and we stop right there and play that and show the shadow figure that was captured in there, most people
Uh-huh.
are like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go back in there."
I'm
Um,
surprised more don't have to use the bathroom afterwards.
exactly, exactly. So we'll go back to the questions here. Let's see here. Ronnie Anderson says, "What is your favorite location?"
Oh, okay. So can I say my top three?
Absolutely, that's a hard question.
Okay,
When I'm asked that every time, I'm always like, "Oh no."
yes, because I've been to so many locations and I'm friends with so many of the people who run these locations. And well, like I do parafamily, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, but my top favorite is going to be Octagon Hall.
Mhm.
My second,
Fantastic location.
yes, my second favorite is historic Scott County Jail. My third favorite is the Old Stone Jail and
Yes.
Historical Society in Franklin, Kentucky. But the funny thing is, that should have been my first because I used to be on the team that oversaw that location. But I was there like 2, 3 weekends a month for what, 3 years almost.
Mhm.
So even with all that, I've got, and I do get great experience there,
Mhm.
but I feel my most memorable experiences and evidence is Octagon Hall and the historic
Yeah.
Scott Museum. So
Well,
it's still they're still going to be my top two.
well, thank you. That really means a lot because, like I said, I know you've come and investigated the jail 3 times, and for people to come back, that, that's just, that's always it's a humbling and just such a great feeling that people want to come back because it's not always about that one and done. It never is about that one and done experience. To be able to have experiences when you're there and then come back to not only see what else you can experience, but to build on them.
Yeah.
That's
I plan on
just,
coming back this year. I'm bringing more people with me.
oh, come on, girl.
Yep, yep, mhm,
Let's see what else we got. We've got Outlaw Paranormal here that says happy to get to investigate with Vickie. We've had
mhm,
them at the historic Scott County Jail as well. Great folks.
yeah,
Carl Gerald says when you can validate what you can validate makes what you can't validate even more rewarding. And that
absolutely.
is such a true statement. Um, D Hoot asks a question for Ghost Biker. Do you have cameras on at the jail when you are not there? And if so, have you recorded any paranormal phenomenon? Great question, D Hoot. We actually do. We have cameras primarily on the first floor because we're still working out the kinks on the upper floors because being a stone jail that's got 3 by 4 by 5 foot thick stone, um, our cameras, we're not able to, we can just have them record, but we are not able to log into them like we can our others. We've had several really cool things happen on the cameras. In fact, just after last week's investigation, when I was locking up and I was coming out of, I've got to turn certain lights off by the main breaker. And so I was coming out from the main breaker room. It was about 3 in the morning. And from behind me, I heard a man say, "Hey," and that was right over by the drunk tank. And so, I pulled up the camera footage and you see me react. You can hear a very, very faint male voice. I'm hoping, that I can turn the volume up on that. But you do hear a male voice. We've also had Sally, our cat there at the jail. We did have, and this was wild. We had the something open up the cell door, and I know, Vicky, Sally, she's got those little legs, and those cell doors there are so heavy.
They are.
And yeah,
Mhm,
they're heavy. There's no seam because they are a cell door, but something
mhm.
opened the cell door at 5:15 in the morning and actually set her in the gift shop. So we have had some really cool phenomena happen, and we're hoping to maybe put some things in place to maybe be able to capture more, maybe be able to capture some Sally's point of view, that sort of thing.
I think y'all
Um,
do it
but
a
yeah,
lot too, Miranda.
do what?
Y'all should do a repetitive live feed on maybe YouTube or something.
Well, we're definitely going to be doing more lives from the jail and from historic rugby between me and Chris. We're going to be doing a lot more on at least monthly, at least a couple times a month between the two of us on our pages. If we can work something out with a live feed, that'd be good. That's just our problem is that our Wi-Fi doesn't reach all 3 floors because of the thick walls.
Yeah.
Um, yes, let's see. Yo Baby Blondie Adventures says I love the recorder as well. And James Brady says the shower is interesting as well. They had some pretty cool activity going on in the shower. I believe it was on the 3rd floor there at the jail.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
curious. Curious minds want to know.
Let's see. We got Mr. Melvin on here. We got Pops on
Hey,
there.
Pop.
Always good to see him. And Chris Sumner says, "What location is your bucket list location?"
I got two more than anything, and I don't know. I might even retire after them, but I doubt it. But Trans Allegheny, and then I want to go to Alcatraz.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really do.
So are you a big as far as like your favorite types of locations? I know you had mentioned two jails was on your list, and then of course one of your bucket lists was a jail. What is your favorite style of location if
Actually,
find you've investigated?
my favorite style is actually old Victorian houses and homes.
Ah.
Um, just because, and then jails would be my second. But just because if you take that Victorian home and a family lived there and it's 120 years old, 160 years old, how many family members are actually still residing in that home? And
Mhm.
what history can they tell you? If you see it, you know, because we like to sit on the rocking chairs on the porch and we love to hear those old stories. You know, how many times can you go into one of these houses and actually get maybe that old timer that would sit out and smoke that peace pipe on the front porch and tell you a story? How many times can you get those stories told to you from the spirit world?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. That is my favorite. That is my favorite.
I love that. Let's see. D Hoot says, I'm curious to know if investigators ever set up cameras and or voice recorders and then leave the location and recover their equipment like the next day or hours later. I know that I know for myself that's something I do at a lot of locations is I'll either put them in locations while I'm investigating because I know you understand this being a solo investigator to try to cover all the ground of
You
some of
can't.
these locations, you just can't do it.
Mhm.
And then things happen when you're investigating in one spot. Sometimes that will trigger something in another spot, or maybe something
Right.
completely
Maybe you want a
different is
camera
going
in
on.
that spot or a recorder to catch what you're not saying. Mhm.
And that's one of the things we used to do too. Like when you get somewhere, I like to always set up my static cameras, and then if I have the opportunity, not all places are give you the opportunity, but
Mhm.
I'll set up while I go eat or while I go somewhere else.
Mhm.
Um, I know we're about to highlight a team paranormal quest who was just at the jail. They do an abandonment session where they set things up and leave. But I've actually left recorders at Octagon Hall overnight when finish the investigation, leave
Uh,
recorders in there, come back and get them the next morning.
uh-huh. I
Have
love it.
you done anything like that?
Yeah. Now, I haven't done it like I haven't left the location. Well, not on purpose, anyways. There's been one or two times I had to go back. It was an accident. But I will typically, like I was at the Thomas house
Mhm.
Tuesday. Excuse me. I was at the Thomas house Tuesday, so the room I left a recorder going in it the whole time while I was out investigating the whole downstairs, upstairs, and everything else. Had, my little night vision camcorder set up, had it going. And, I had a cat ball or two or something on the bed. So just to see if it would trigger with me not in there.
Mhm.
So I mean, because if you stay at a place like, especially like a haunted Airbnb or hotel and stuff like that, and it's huge, and you're going to go to these other locations where you're still there 8 to 10 hours, or longer, it depends. So, yeah, I'm going to set up equipment anywhere and everywhere I can set it up because it's a huge place, you know.
Yes.
So makes it
Absolutely.
tiring to fun afterwards, but
And to me, it's like going through all that footage when you capture those voices, like what you captured in the bathroom there at the jail, like, that just gives you that motivation and spurs you on to continue to listen to that 80 hours of footage.
it does. It does because I'm telling you, when you capture something like that, it hypes you up. There's no way around it.
Exactly. And thank you, Carl. He says that, the historic Scott County Jail is one of the only places I've heard voices with my own ears. Vickie was lucky to document those also.
Yeah, and I've been Carl. They came up there
That's
one of the
right.
times, and they invited me. So his team, Black Sky, was one of the teams that I actually collabed with, going up to your historic Scott County Jail.
That's
So,
right. That's
mhm.
right. Let's see here. Ronnie says Sally needs a body cam, and Chris responded with, "That may be in the future." That is something that we've definitely talked about.
We need bow tie cam
Yes.
on her bow tie.
That would be so perfect.
That would
And
be awesome.
and Chris says Alcatraz is amazing.
Has she been? Did you
She's
go and
been
you tell me?
I know she's not investigated there, but yeah, she's been.
Well, when I
And
used to drive a tractor trailer, I had this one delivery, and you would go over the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was an old military base. So you would go down, and you went down underneath, and like you was standing on the edge of the aisle, and you could look across the you could see Alcatraz on that big island. I was hooked then. And that was back in the early 2000s. And I was like, oh my God, I really want to get out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Chris says we have access to a village full of Victorian houses if you
I know.
choose to.
I got to get out to rugby.
Yes.
I want to get out there so bad. I was hoping to come out around Halloween. Unfortunately, I was tied up all of October, but I really want to get, I'm still going to come. I'm still going to come though.
Hey, we got a full year coming up, so 365 days you'll have to one of those come over here and see
Exactly.
us. And hello, Brandon, who's over in on a mountain in Pennsylvania. Glad you had a safe trip, and hope you continue to have a safe trip. Let's see here. Um, Hood actually asked. She says, "Is that as successful as asking questions?" And I know she's referring to having the
So,
static recorders and stuff. What's your opinion on that?
um, yeah, I think it varies, and it really varies with the location.
Mhm,
Okay, so I think if a location has been like overly done, then typically the spirits are used to just talking freely.
mhm,
But if you go into a location that hasn't had a lot of paranormal activity in there, then typically it'd be more quiet. So you would
mhm,
probably go days without capturing anything
mhm.
versus something that's used to talking and communicating, then you would capture more. So I think it really depends on the location you go into.
I think so. And, one of the ways I test that myself is sometimes I'll pre record questions on a recorder because
Oh,
I'm always curious whether, like, say I sit in a room and I'm asking questions, are they reacting to my energy? Is it something that I'm bringing in they're reacting to, or are they reacting to my questions?
mhm,
And I put trigger items and we'll put sometimes pre-recorded questions in there, and sometimes it's not even my voice. Sometimes it's somebody else's voice to
mhm,
see if they react with nobody in the room. Because for me, I'm always, like I said, I'm always wondering if what we're experiencing is
mhm,
something brought in or triggered from us. And I know, like Vicky said, I've had mixed results. Sometimes it is better than asking questions because sometimes it's kind of just, it's almost like
yeah.
let nature take its course. If there's a
Mhm,
residual activity,
yep.
I'll use the jail as an example just because
Mhm,
that's what I know. But
right.
if you've got footsteps that go at a certain time every night, you know, um, and it's residual, that's not triggered by,
Mhm,
by me. Yeah, not necessarily. And so, having that recorder out there, you're going to capture that residual. Will you
mhm.
capture the intelligent response? Because your response that you got, I'm not 100%. I mean, I feel like it was residual, but I also
Mhm.
kind of feel like it could have been intelligent because you
Well,
were in there. Is there such thing as an intelligent residual haunting
I
or a
can't
triggered
remember
residual?
because to me, it almost sounded like it was more of a time loop.
Mhm.
Like they were, and not everybody believes in that, and that's fine.
Yeah,
To each their own. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong because none of us has died, went to the other side, and we know
that's right.
100%. But my theory is because of the way the male talks,
Mhm.
he sounds intelligent.
Mhm.
Because that I've been repeatedly after trying to see if it was residual, and I couldn't prove that it was residual because I never
Mhm.
could capture it again. With that being said, that leads me to believe that maybe they're on a time loop or they're on a
Mhm.
different plane
Mhm.
and they're going through those emotions. And, maybe it's a different plane and not on our plane anymore.
Yeah,
So,
that makes perfect sense.
mhm,
Um, and Chris says we started using pre-recorded questions at the Ma Barker house when we left recorders and cameras going alone all night and got great results. So I don't know, it's really interesting, when you look at it that way because, um, one of the houses that I did, I had recorded the homeowner. The homeowner was elderly, and she had
Mm.
not been in the home in probably 8 to 9 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
one of the spirits there were 5 spirits in there, and one of them was I don't know if it was the spirit of the energy of her deceased husband or if it was something mimicking that, but when we played her voice, the floor started shaking, tools started going
Wow.
off, and it was her voice, and so, I could have asked the same questions that she asked, but, you
Not
know
got the
not
response.
got the same results. So, was it her voice? Was it some type of energy that she put into that recording, like the intention? I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know, but the fact was it
And
was pre-recorded. Yeah.
well, and that I think you touched base. The intent really matters when you're investigating because
Yes.
usually it's whatever intent you put out there is what you get back. But I love the whole pre-recorded questions. I think that's super smart. That was a brilliant thing. I'm gonna have to try that for real.
I think you should try doing it both ways. Try
Yeah.
it at being in the room asking the questions, and
Mhm.
then pre-record the questions and see if it has something to do with the questions itself or with you
Yeah.
that's in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for
And I
okay.
mean, to me, that's just one of the things being a solo investigator. I know Chris is not a solo investigator, but she is with a small team. I mean, typically it's just her and her sister. Sometimes, it's the rest of the folks. But you know, when you're doing a small team like that, and that's one of the topics we said we were going to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of
Mhm.
positives and negatives to it, you think?
There is. There is. But sometimes you can get better response with it being
Mhm.
1 to 2 people, even 3
Yes.
people. But then other times, it depends on the energy and the spirit flow of the people that you have and you're with, and then you
Mhm.
can go in and you kinda laugh and cut up, and the spirits will come and cut up with you, and then you can get more responses because you got that flow of happy energy. So,
Mhm.
it just depends. Just depends.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've probably seen varied results when you're doing your collaborations, whether depending on the different people you collaborate with.
I do, I absolutely do. Um, because, it takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. So I love investigating with people that are very joyful, playful out there. That would be Jimmy from Outlaw, very playful. Um, and he brings a very funny side, and that usually will get spirits going. Um, Carl's on the quieter end. I've investigated with him, and he brings in a little bit more of that sound serious side. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because he's the quieter top man. Dustin, which is PPR, he's very big hearted and he's a caregiver. So a lot of times he does really well with maybe spirits that had disabilities in life
Okay.
or children. And of course, he's got a hot mannequin woman at Octagon Hall spirit that comes through all the time for him. Um, Tanya in chat, that's your baby. I investigate with her. And she has such a sweet motherly sense with
Mm.
her that she will typically bring out the grandmother spirits or the children's spirits. So if you take all these different brands of people and you
Mhm.
take all their personalities, it depends on the location you're at and the spirits and their personalities, and they'll come through. You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it really does matter who you're with and where you're at.
I totally agree. And that's why I know for me, I'm very protective with who I investigate with because I mean, you get around somebody that is just has a negative disposition or is just always stressed or maybe they're a good calm person but they're going through something and they go into these locations, they're not grounded, they're not centered, and they're not in that frame of mind. that can totally change the activity that you get.
It can.
And I believe a lot of the negative activity that places have comes from that,
Yeah.
from what people are bringing in versus negative entities that are at the locations themselves.
I absolutely agree. And that's another thing that people's got to realize. When they go into these places, and you got so many people hollering the D word. Come on,
Yes.
give me a break. Okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, how people are when they're alive is how they are when they pass. If you have that cranky old person when they were alive, that's how they're going to be when they pass. That don't make them evil. That don't make them
No.
bad. It just
No.
means you walked up in their space and they don't want you there. They want you to
Mhm.
leave because you can come up unannounced into their personal space and they was already cranky to begin with.
That's true. Very true. And I mean, I can't express that enough. And because I know one location that I did, there was a reputation of just being dark and evil, and I slept there. And so with my friend Tiffany, we slept there. And now, while we did get activity, now I didn't want to know what the activity was like that other people had gotten until after, I had gone. I knew the stories, the historical stories, but I didn't want to know the actual activity. And so when I was looking at the activity, I was really surprised at what people got, because some of the activity we got mirrored certain aspects of it, as far as maybe more of a depressed and oppressed sort of thing. But as far as screaming the D word and stuff,
Yeah.
my thought was the only demons that are in this location are the demons that people have within them that they have brought in. And I'm not
Yep.
even talking about like,
Yeah.
possessed people. I'm just talking about the daily demons that we have every day.
Their
And
own
I'm not
energy.
saying they don't exist, but in
Mhm.
locations,
Yeah.
very, very rarely,
Very,
if
very.
ever.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I just sit back because I love people and I do. But y'all all know, we all know, even in chat, you're gonna run into that one or two that you just sit back, be quiet, kind of roll your eyes.
Yeah.
And if I do, like, cause y'all know I love people, and but if I walk into that, and cause y'all know I don't do drama, I don't do drama. I'm too
Exactly.
into it. I'm too old, and I'm not in middle school, so if you get those people that kind of happen to come around you, you'll see me. I'll veer off. I hunt, I go investigate myself. Like, your bad energy is not coming onto my energy.
And there's so much. I mean, it's almost comical, all the damn drama that's going
Oh,
on right now, and all the people seeing people, and I'm not even gonna get into it, but seeing people lie and do all, I mean, the
yeah.
drama is insane, and it's comical because it's just like, mind your business, really. It's like,
Right.
mind your business, do your research, do your thing, and quit worrying about other people, and quit.
Yes.
It's comical. I sit there and laugh at all the nonsense that I'm seeing, and I
Mhm.
say nonsense because it is important to some people, but the things they drag people into and the things people spend their time and effort arguing about, just
Honey, I tell them, does it pay your bills? Is it going to pay your bills? Is it
thank
going to
you.
kill you? Is it going to take food out of your mouth? Then it ain't nothing to worry about.
Exactly. Exactly. It's crazy. Um, and that's my soapbox on that, because I see enough of it on Facebook, and it just
Mhm. Yep. We hear enough of it on phones and everything else is like, really?
yeah. Yeah, just um, but
Blame.
and that goes to, Ronnie's question, do you believe in para-unity?
I do. Unfortunately, not everybody does. Okay. Here's my thought about it. I believe that there is nobody, I don't care how many years you've got in it. I have one person I look up to and I respect, and he is my mentor. The man's been doing it a year before I was born. So he's been doing 46. I'm fixing to turn 47. And when I turn 47, he'll be doing it 48 years.
Wow.
Okay. That man has my respect because he's been doing it longer than I've been alive.
Mhm.
with that being said, nobody truly knows any better or any more than anybody else.
That's
Now,
right.
do we get those what I call bought lessons? Yes. A bought lesson is usually a mistake you make and then you learn from it. Or
Yes.
you went into an area and you figured out what not to do, or you figured out what works and what don't. So we all learn and we all learn differently and we can learn from each other. But you got so many people out there instead of supporting each other because we do have a passion for this field,
Hmm.
whether it be because of his history or it's because of the spiritual side. We still have that passion and we should love and support each other. That don't mean you got to like each other because God knows there's some people I don't like and I'd love to lay hands on. But with that being said, you still got to show a level of respect, or even if that you don't like them,
Right.
just walk away. They're not bothering
Yes.
you. But if
Yes.
they have that same passion, that same love for this, like we do,
Hmm.
why not?
Hmm.
I mean, because you got the same common interest. Why
Yeah.
not love each other, support each other?
Yeah.
So,
No, that's just a not a common. That's just not a common frame of thought for a lot of people, whether it be paranormal, whatever it
yeah.
is. It's not. It people don't people involve themselves in too many other things and are too worried about what other people are doing, and maybe it is because people are so passionate about it. I don't know. It's not right. It's not
Right.
right
Most
when
of it
people
don't
do
have
that.
to be a hill of beans.
Yeah, just move on. Do your
Mhm.
own thing.
Do your own
um
thing. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Absolutely.
ego does
Mhm.
play a big part in it. I mean, I know for me, and we see a lot of investigators being location owners, and I come into contact with a lot of investigators. And in fact, I mean, there's a lot of investigators that watch this show and followed along on the live, which I was so humbled and amazed by that there was so many investigators following these lives.
Mhm.
And a lot of investigators don't watch other investigator stuff. It's not because they're not interested, it's because they're busy. They're
Yeah.
out there investigating.
Yep.
So I mean, I feel like, you just have to go in, do your thing. And I'm always really excited and happy whenever somebody gets that amazing capture. Don't
Mhm.
get jealous, don't get territorial. I mean, be
Yeah.
glad because you can build on what someone else has captured,
Absolutely. And you
you
got so
know?
many people out there like I'm just going to tell you guys, if people come and ask me to be on podcasts, and I turn them down all the time because I'm not the typical investigator. I don't TV chase, and I don't look to be out there and broad. Miranda can tell you, I'm very laid back. I
Very
love
much.
going and doing my own thing and, and meeting people and stuff like that. But Miranda's my girl. I love my girl. I love Chris. They're my ladies, and they're good hearted. So that's why I came on tonight. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm standing here, my legs been bouncing, my everything. That's why it's like, sorry, it's my leg. All right. But with that being said, you have people like me that don't like being center of attention, who don't
Mhm.
like that solo or Broadway,
Yeah,
avenue, but we still have that passion. And I support everybody. So
you do.
if you have those people who love being in the spotlight, I'm pushing them to it. You go do you. I'm proud of you. If you want that person up on TV, I'm pushing you. Go do your TV. Go do your thing. And that's the way we should be because not everybody wants to be center. And then you got people who want to be center. Just love
Mhm.
them. Push each
That's
other
right.
to be the best version of who they can be. That's all you got to do.
That's exactly right, and whenever we are being the best version of who we can be, that you're gonna get the best evidence. You're gonna go into these locations in the right frame of mind, and whenever you go into them with the right frame of mind and the right intentions, then you're gonna get good evidence and good responses, or at least good activity that you
Yeah.
might not be able to explain when you go into it that way. And,
And
I mean, it's not a competition.
no, and a lot of good memories from it. I mean,
Yes.
you think, what do we leave here when we die and cross over? All we leave is the marks that we leave. Everything else is materialistic. So we leave memories, we
Mm-hmm.
leave happy moments. That's what people's going to remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when we get old and we're in our 80s and 90s, I'm going to call you up. Hey, girls, y'all remember that time I went to y'all's jail? Yes, you remember that AVP down there? Well, I can see us old and talking about it now, you know?
That's right. And I believe too that's some of the energy and stuff that's left behind in these locations are that good energy and those good memories. That's the stuff that people's going to be picking up on for residual activity at some point.
Absolutely.
Don't let your residual energy be negative crap.
Exactly. Exactly. There's enough crap in the living world. Don't take it with you to the afterlife.
Exactly. So let's get into some of the evidence that you provided. I meant to get into that just a little bit sooner, but you provided with some good stuff, and want to share that and have us talk about it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some of these now because some of them are TikToks. We've cut out the sound just so we don't get flagged for any copyright violations. So if there's something that is not music, but if it is an EVP, once I play it, you tell me and I'll replay it.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is I'll play the first one and then you can set it up. And if we need to replay it, we'll do that. So let me get this pulled up here. And okay. So let me go ahead and
Okay.
start this. See if I can. All right. So,
Okay.
all right.
So, go
I'll
ahead.
go back on that. Let me.
It's just do the first two
Okay.
or three. First three. Sorry,
Okay.
my bad. All right. Excuse me, guys. I'm getting over bronchitis. All right. So this was actually during one of the novice hunts this last October.
Okay.
And it was my weekend that we put on for the event. And it was me and professional paranormal researcher and Yo Baby Blondie down there, and one other guy who was doing this novice hunt investigation. All right, as I'm taking my group of people out there,
Okay.
I have gotten so many amazing evidence. The barn at Octagon and me, we just like that. We go hand in hand. So I go out there and I get a lot of great evidence. And I
Hmm.
also use my body. So what I mean by that is I get, yep, that's that Octagon Hall. That's the Red Barn. Um, I get these sensations or these feels or headaches, and then I typically know or can sense when something's around.
Okay.
So as I'm opening the barn door, I turned around and look at the group, which is, I think it was only four ladies, three ladies and one man that was with me. I turned
Hmm.
around and looked at the group. I said, "Start taking your photos now." That's me standing beside this thing. No, I never saw it with my own eyes. This was taken
Huh.
off the phone. The lady gave it to me, and so you see this thing. To me, it looks like it's in kind of a robe, but it almost looks like it's holding a knife in its hand too. Um,
Right.
and in the distance, you see these three faces. And so, the next picture will enlarge on the faces, but you can actually see the eyes and mouth on it. And then the first picture, yeah, or maybe it's the next one that's circled.
Okay.
So yeah, you can actually look,
Um,
even though real far away, you can still see eyes and a mouth, and
Uh-huh.
it's. I don't know if they're human spirits or alien spirits. I don't know because they got that weird look.
Well,
But
with
this is
Octagon Hall, it's untelling.
yeah, yeah. But it's all captured in one photo, and I'm gonna tell you, all the years I've been doing this, I ain't never seen no ectoplasma thing like in that first picture of my life, and I was tickled to freaking death over it. I was like, "Have y'all ever seen anything like that?"
I mean, that's wild.
It is, and that was as soon as we opened the barn door. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh,
Those barns are wild.
sure.
I know I've investigated Octagon not nearly as many times as you. I think I've investigated it 6 or 8 times, and, the barns, sometimes I don't make it out to the barns,
Yeah,
and you're missing out when you don't. Um, I got what sounded like it definitely had to be a soldier,
yeah.
and it was this gruff male voice, and it was just on a recorder sitting out there, and it said, "F them boys, come on." And it
Right?
had that accent.
Yep,
So it
yeah.
was probably a Southern soldier. Well, of course, we
Mhm.
had Southerners that also fought for the Union, but,
Right,
it was definitely a Southern person.
right. Southern voice, yeah.
Mhm.
I love Octagon, and y'all will understand why with all these amazing pieces. That's cool. Crust, honey, girl, I wish y'all had been there that night. I like this was only just one piece from that night. It was amazing. Now, can you imagine? That was a novice hunt. So these people that was out there had never done paranormal before, and this was the capture.
Now, did you pull it up at that point in time
Yes.
during the investigation?
Yes. So of course, you teach them always take a photo of threes. You
Yes.
got to make sure you have threes so you can debunk, so you can sit there. Because what I also do is I teach them to take photos in three increments, but to pay attention to the surroundings.
Yeah.
So if you see a light coming in, you know where that light is when you go back and look at the photo. If you know there's a door here and a window here, you automatically look to see what you're around. So when you go back, you can debunk that photo.
That's
You know,
right.
I go through
Always
and
know your
even they're not.
surroundings.
Yeah, so even though they're novices, I mean, you still need to teach them the right way the first time and not just,
Mhm.
oh, let them go do their thing. No, teach them
Yeah.
right the first time.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not always when people talk about teaching people how to investigate, it's not necessarily from a spiritual standpoint. It's from
Mhm.
the observation of things, from just knowing. I think nothing is more important than documenting where
Mhm,
you're at on your recorders when you're there, who's around you, what you're doing, and then
mhm.
going through and taking pictures during the day, or at least when you're not in the heat of the investigation, because things they absolutely always look different in the dark, and they always look different when you're not under that I don't want to say pressure, that's not the right word, but when you're not investigating, they
Right.
always look different.
No, absolutely. Because a lot of times, and I've had to, there's been several times I have gotten stuff that I thought was real good evidence, and
Mhm.
I go back and reinvestigate during the day, and I was able to debunk it. Now,
Absolutely.
does it bite? Yeah, it bites when I can debunk it, but that makes you a good investigator.
That's right. That's right. All right, so I'm gonna pull this one up and pull that.
Uh, this is also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let me replay that.
Okay, so when the guy's walking, now this is another collab I did with Proof After, and this is
Okay.
little Owen and Jen's in the barn with me, um, and Owen had left his REM pod out there. As for people to pay attention, when he's walking past those planks, this is my Facebook Live that this is took from. I'm on live. This is not a camcorder or anything else. I'm on my phone doing a live. And as he walks through, when you look over here, it'll darken. You see the shadow pop out through the plate in the red barn at Octagon Hall.
Okay.
And then those are still shots. Right there.
Wow.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
boom.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I did not know that I captured that until the next day. Did not see it at the time when I was live.
Gotta love those captures.
I do.
Now, are you someone, whenever you're doing these novice hunts or when you're doing investigations, some people will go and listen to like their recorders. They'll do like a burst session and
Mhm.
listen to the recorder in the moment. Are you
Yeah.
one that listens in the moment of for some of those, or do you go back?
I do. Now, a lot of times, like if I'm doing a long version, I'll wait until the next day and listen. But if I'm doing a 360 or if I'm doing that small burst session, I will be live on my phone and live on my page. And I'll sit there and we'll do the 360 and ask three questions. And
Okay.
I play it back live for everybody to see because I believe it's harder because you got so many people out there that like to fake stuff.
Yes.
How can you fake it if you're live and it's in real time?
Yeah.
So I love doing it to where other people can experience it with me. And I
Mhm.
can point right there and I'm getting excited, you're getting excited, everybody gets excited.
That's right, and I do just have to add, if you guys enjoy watching lives, you need to go on over and check out Reflections of the Paranormal Vickie's page because you pretty well go live on every investigation you do, correct?
I do unless I'm having no activity. Even
Okay.
if it's a small activity, I will go live. But if like it's, nothing, then I won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I do a walkthrough, unless like it's a historic place I have not been to, then
Mhm.
yes, I will at least go live and do a walk around and show everybody, you know.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Nice. Alright, so let me pull this one up here. And again, thank you for sharing this evidence with us. I know I always enjoy doing, evidence reviews with people.
Well, thank you for having me and thank you for sharing it.
Absolutely.
So those are the still shots.
Okay.
But you can see from these how the shape and the shadow move with the
Yeah.
plane. Like it's never the same.
No, it's not. Wow. Any thoughts on what that is?
Don't have a clue. Don't have a clue.
Hmm.
But I'm glad he come out and participated.
No doubt.
Yeah. I will say though, we were getting evidence, and we were talking with a soldier, and he had to
Okay.
have his leg amputated. So, if
Okay.
my best guess is it was probably a Civil War soldier.
Mhm.
However, we didn't have any, voice recordings going at that time. We didn't get any EVPs or anything to collaborate or back up what exactly it was. I just know he came out to participate and I got him on camera and hot dog, I'm happy.
That's all that matters. All that
Yep.
matters. Alright, so let me get this one pulled up. Okay. This one's gonna be some still shots too. Ah, that looks like the, outside kitchen
It is.
or
And there's
summer
a
kitchen.
man standing in that kitchen. And there's no window in that kitchen.
No,
That is
there's not.
no, And it's the funny thing is when you come out and you're walking down that walkway,
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like somebody was watching me. there again, I was using my body, right?
Right?
And so I just turned around and started taking photos. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have to keep going. You don't have to keep going. But and
I
that
think it's
man
just
was in
cycling.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Whoops.
Yeah. And there's faces out there in the distance, but you can't see them on here. But it is like that was really cool. I never saw the man, and I usually don't investigate that summer kitchen. And that
Mhm.
man standing there, and I mean, you can see his hair, you can see his white. I think it was white shirt and his breeches, and I was like, "Well, hey, how you doing? I need to
You
go
know
back."
I tell you something, because that's one that, I never really did very much investigating there in that kitchen. But when I was with PRGI, and so we investigated there. I mean, we would investigate there every year. And so we did one investigation, and we would always set our base camp outside with a tent. And so we decided we were going to cook for the slaves. And so we actually brought one of those little cast iron Dutch ovens that you
Mhm.
put in the ground there.
Yep.
And so we made, pinto beans and cornbread
Yep.
and made it for the slaves there, and then, of course, we ate with them, and we got some really cool EVPs just from doing that, and we weren't even really actively
Awesome.
investigating. It was like, "Let's do this and see what happens,"
Uh-huh.
and, just keep the recorders going, and that was when we always got cool stuff there at Octagon Hall, was when we just do things, and
Uh-huh.
then you would get the, just kinda get the responses almost like you're ignoring them.
Yeah, but I love that. I mean, how many people actually think to do that? And that was a very common thing was beans and cornbread back in.
Yep.
Do you know I've actually sit on the back porch and talked to Harriet, the second wife. And I
Yep.
asked her one time, I said, Harriet, do you like biscuit and gravy or you like jam and biscuits? And she said, jam and biscuits. She didn't like biscuit and gravy. Yep. I mean, it's something simple like that, and a lot of people don't think about it. But I've had, I say, "Do you like tea or coffee?" And they said, "No, I like beer." I mean, that's pretty cool when you're getting those kind of responses. It's not really something, that you go out of your way to find out, but it's really cool because it gives you that personality of the spirit you're
Yeah.
communicating with. I love
Yeah.
the I love it.
Y'all have to try that next time you
Mhm.
go cook for 'em. Let's see what else we got here. Uh, alright. Sorry, it takes me a minute because I have to, it always starts playing as soon as I go to it.
You're absolutely fine. You're better than me, anyways. Mm.
Now is that an old stone?
No, so this is at the Spooky Pickle in Galton.
Oh.
Um, so it's Pickled Treats and Antiques in Galton, and Miss Shauna had just opened up for the investigators to start doing it,
Mhm.
and they had this old dollhouse, and we were actually sitting in the floor just investigating, just kind of having a chill moment, laughing. We were playing, we're singing songs. And we asked this man, and I remember this. We got the name, I think it was Thompson.
Okay.
And so we said, is Thompson your last name? And all of a sudden, you see this light anomaly come up out of the dollhouse, and it comes out of the roof of the dollhouse and goes up. I was
Huh.
to the fence over it. I mean, it's huge,
Wow.
it's bright, and it comes out of the
Yeah.
dollhouse.
Yeah.
So
So did you see the light anomaly with your own eyes at that point?
I did want because I was filming it. So this was
Oh,
on my
okay. Okay.
camera. So I was able to see it because I was looking at that, but now you couldn't see it like out of the naked eye.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I mean, still,
No.
that's really, really cool.
Mhm.
Um, Now is that location open for investigations all the time, or is it just kind of a special thing?
No, she's got it open now. You just got to call her and make reservations, and it's not
Okay.
expensive. It's not a big area, but it's
Yep.
not expensive either. And she's
Okay.
got a lot of antiques in there, and you know how we like antiques. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. And this one looks like it is Old Historic Harriman Hospital back in 2022. So
Yeah.
let me pull that up, which is another great location.
Yep.
Whoops. Let's see here.
I know from my side it's harder to see because it's smaller.
Yeah.
But so this was when they very first opened, and
Okay.
Julie was doing her little enactment there
Hmm.
in that emergency room.
Okay.
Ronnie D had actually took my camcorder out of my hand and they put me in the play that they wanted me to do. And so he took my night vision camcorder and he was doing it around the room. And you see me standing there as
Hmm.
he walks in front of me, you see me go like this. There
Yeah.
was a shadow that
Something.
darts down behind my head from corner of the ceiling. And it goes, boom, and it's real
Yeah.
fast and right behind my head.
You can see it really clear. I'll play that again.
You'll see me flip my hair too. And I flipped my hair because I felt it almost
There.
felt like something moved the back of my hair, and I thought my hair had caught on my hoodie was the way on my shirt, and that's the way it felt. But it was the same time as his spirit darts right behind my head.
That's
I
awesome.
know, love it.
That is awesome. Let's see. This one is, let's see. Um okay, this was when you were with Whiskey Tango, and it was captured by Bill Wilkerson. So let me.
It's his DVR. But that's me with
Okay.
blonde hair. Just FYI, everybody.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Play that
ma'am.
one more time. So I'm assuming this was at Old Stone Jail?
No, this was down in Lynchburg, Tennessee. This is the Elmore
Ah,
County Jail in Lynchburg. Um, Billy and Terry was outside. Ronnie was outside. I went upstairs to wait because Heather, that used to be on the team a long time ago, she was supposed to come upstairs with me. I went on upstairs. I'm standing there, and you see me looking down at my equipment, and I'm checking the battery levels on it. And I'm waiting for her to come up there. And again, I used my senses. I knew something come up behind me. I felt it. I felt his energy. And I'm looking down and I'm like, yeah, no, it's not the best time for me to be in here by myself. So I walked back downstairs and I hollered and was like, hey, how much longer is it going to take you? Whatever. Unbeknownst, I didn't even know that Bill had his DVR system turned on yet. And he captured it and he sent it to me the next day. He's like, hey, Vic, look at this. I was like, oh, see, that's the reason why I walked out. Like, but to me, he looks almost like he's nosy. Like he's
yeah.
looking over my shoulder, like, what are you doing down there? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh. It's always cool when you can validate a capture with a feeling or
yeah,
validate a feeling with a capture.
yes, yes. And that was in 2019, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that was pretty
Let's
cool.
see. Let's get this one queued up. Okay. Oh, I remember hearing about this one.
Yes.
So you
So,
want to tell us a little about it?
yeah. So again, this is at Octagon Hall. This is out in the Red Barn. This was taken off my little bitty night vision camera. That's all it is. You know, I bought it off Amazon. It's just a little bitty night vision camera. It's no bigger in a minute. And I was out there one night and I was taking photos. Did not see it that night. I was also did a live. I did not see it. I went home. I started going through my photos. I think I'm seeing something else. So I actually send this picture to Billy from Night Stalkers, and then we send it to Bear. And both of them's like, "Hey, sis, you don't realize what you got in this photo." I'm like, "No, what I got?" So then they were like, "Well, look." So they start showing, and of course, like my laptop's a smaller laptop anyway. So I'm really looking, and then when I was able to enlarge it, I was like, "Holy cow!" Um, what? So what they saw is this looks like Miss Harriet, the owner of the place. You know, her husband Andrew owned it. He died. I think they were only married 11 years before he passes. She lives there the next 50 years, and she runs this. And back in that time, for a single woman to run a farm, and I mean thousands of acres, was nearly impossible. So she was a very strong individual. Well, anyway, so Harriet, she has an amputated hand up to the well, in this photo, it looks like the what is that called?
Like the prosthetic.
The prosthetic.
Yeah.
So the one hand shows the exact same prosthetic as Harriet does in her picture that's hanging up above the fireplace in the dining room, and it has the same kind of hand. Like I mean, it's cool. They show it all the time, and I gave it to them. I'm like, that's y'all. Y'all do whatever you want to with it, you know. And I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I mean, I took the photo, but I didn't even realize what I had because, you know, I couldn't see it. They blew it up on their big, you know, computer. So
and that's what's interesting is, I mean, because in that picture, you can tell there's something wrong with her hand, and then you go to look at it, it's a wooden hand.
It is. It is. It's like this. And she would use this because they didn't have the movable handstand. And so she would use that as a push and pull, push and pull. And that's what they had.
I mean, that's cool. I remember Bear showing me that. That was probably we had gone up to get mannequins from up there. They donated some to the jail, and I think it was like a weekend or two after y'all had investigated there, and he was showing it to us.
But I tried to debunk it. So I went up there because, you know, I sent it to him that night because I come home, I'm going through it, and I'm like, holy crap, am I seeing what I'm saying? And no, I mean, I thought I was seeing a woman holding a baby, but it wasn't. It was her. It was the paneling behind her that made it look like a baby. So I'm sitting here, and you know, we got to try and debunk it no matter what. So, you know, I sent him the picture. I talked with Bear on the phone. I said, Bear, can I come up there in the morning? I said, I want to do a live and be live and try and debunk this. He said, absolutely, sis. So I go with her. I get out of my car. I turn on my live feed as I'm walking up to the barn. I open the barn door and I go in there, fan it around. I'm live. There's nothing in there that can give me that resemblance, or it could even mimic that design, shape, body. I couldn't. There was nothing. I could not debunk it. So that was awesome. And I love that I'm going to do it live. So.
Yes. Yes. Let's see here. So. Oh, interesting.
Now that's in the at the Lotes house in Franklin, Tennessee.
Okay.
I think this was back in 2020, and there's a little girl standing in that mirror, and she's got a blue dress on, and I think she's about 10 to 12 years of age. Now it's funny, is because they're so
it's like she's passing.
Yeah, Well,
Just
so I'm standing at the top of the stairway and I'm
okay.
just taking photos. Okay. I'm just taking photos. I'm not even investigating at this moment because we were taking a break. It was one of the investigator's daughter's birthday. We was going downstairs. They said, hey, it's cake time. So I'm just taking photos. Okay. Upstairs, there's like a balcony doorway. In front of the balcony doorway over here is like a little mannequin, and she has a Florida dress, and it's huge 50s.
Okay.
Yeah, like 1850s. It's old Southern style. You know,
Gotcha.
dress. So that is not even the dress that's on that girl because it's white and it's flowery. Okay.
Okay.
So behind that is the doors that go to the balcony, and there's a grandfather clock that's over there beside the door, and that's the only thing that's in that area. And I'm showing you so you can get a visual because when you look at that photo, you can see her, and she's standing in front of
Mhm.
that grandfather clock because it's so dark and it
Mhm.
looks like she's coming like maybe around it or whatever. And I don't even think you see the mannequin lady because she's further up, but she's by those doors. And I didn't see those not either. I seen it the next morning. So, and I printed those off and gave those to Mr. Thomas down there too. And
Okay.
that's a great place too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've been pretty lucky. I will have to say I've been pretty lucky. I feel blessed.
I can agree with that. I mean, that's one of those things where, you know, I mean, you seem to get a lot of activity wherever you go, and I mean, I feel the same way. I think a
Yep.
lot of it has to do with intentions of how you're going in there and your style of investigating. I think that they just tend to respond to you.
Well, I got that old motherly down home Southern style. Come here, honey. Let me give you a hug and let's bake sweet potato pie or something.
There you
I
go.
think that's what it is. I really do think that's what it is.
I can get behind that. I can say that. Let's see here. Now, is this at the McDonald?
I cannot say where this is.
I
This
gotcha,
is an
gotcha,
undisclosed location because they don't allow paranormal there.
gotcha. Okay.
So I went and did a tour at this place and I was just randomly taking photos. We were not doing paranormal, but
Just
the
taking pictures.
yeah. And so you'll see different images in there. I mean, it wasn't just one image I caught,
Wow.
but this did have to do with the military. And this was,
Gotcha.
yeah, but
Gotta love those undisclosed locations.
uh huh,
They yield some of the best evidence. And you know, one day you're going to be doing one of those
uh
and
huh.
you're going to get the Holy Grail and you can't say it.
I know it. I know it. So you got a list undisclosed location, but that first one, it's funny. Is we was standing out there and we was listening to the speaker, and I look over and I seen it. I seen it with my own eyes.
That is
That very
cool.
first picture. Yes, I saw it with my own eyes, and I was able to capture it on my phone. And sometimes when you're doing it with your phone, sometimes the phone don't take it fast enough. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh dear God, please let me capture this, please," because I was seeing it with my own eyes. And I was like, "Holy crap! Oh my God!" Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's cool. Those are
yeah.
cool captures. I love just going into different places that maybe don't allow investigations, but just taking pictures, seeing what you get, because a lot of the time they'll show themselves.
They will. They will.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that? I do it a lot. Like I'll put my hand out and I'm like, "Will you come hold my hand? Can you come touch my hand? Can I take a picture with you? Can you come?"
Hmm. Now, I think this one that we're going to play, it's showing a recorder. So this
Yeah.
one's probably audio. So
Mhm.
we've got just a couple more here to show, guys. And so appreciate you guys sticking with us and listening. So we'll go ahead and play this one.
Stranger, do you mind telling us what birth month you were born in? tell us the year that you died?
Wow. So we'll play that again, but go ahead and kind of tell us.
This was at the Gainesboro house down in Gainesboro, Tennessee. I
Okay.
just recently went there. It was a collab done with me and Stevie Ruley. This I had never been there, and so we were upstairs, and this is Stevie's recorder, and we were asking questions. We were doing the 360.
Okay.
And so when we went to play it back, you hear a third voice. So it was only me, female, Stevie, guy, and on the recorder you hear another male voice, and it comes on and says, I don't know why they're effing with this. But I mean, even though it says what it says, it was still really cool. It's like, I don't know why they're effing with this, but so of course, I took out my phone. I was like, holy crap, listen to this. And I recorded with my phone. So go ahead.
All righty. Oops. Let's see here. Let me start that.
Mind telling us what birth month you were born in? Major, can you tell us the year that you died?
I mean, how cool is that? I'm sorry, but for a spirit to just come out and say something like that, I was dying. I was rolling.
That's clear. I mean, that's class A. That's like, the stuff you've heard there. I mean, that you captured at the jail. I mean, just
And you got the spirit's personality to boot, It's like, okay. I loved it. I thought it was
that's
hilarious.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Turn the music off there. Okay. This looks like this is also, or it's labeled Gainesboro House as well. So,
Yeah. That second photo, like it come up the stairs and it was massive. It was like, almost the shape of a body without a head.
mhm.
So, I mean, it was just amazing. Like the first picture, you don't see it in the stairway. That second picture, boom, it's there. And
Yeah.
let me tell you about those stairs. You've got to be extremely careful. They're very, very steep stairs. And I don't know if it was like since they'd done paranormal. I think it was way before that, but something about an accident. Somebody fell down the stairs or something like that. So I kind of wonder, did that person die? Is this what it was, or whatever? But when
Mhm.
you something that big, lot anomaly, that I love them. Okay, you got people who don't
Absolutely.
like orbs and they do like orbs, but I'm sorry when they're huge. I
Mhm.
don't care if you like it or not. I do.
Hey, you know what? You gotta look, it's like you said, you gotta look at the surroundings, what's going on. You've gotta look at everything. Even somebody that doesn't believe in orbs or light anomalies or what have you. I mean, I think to do a whole blanket statement of either they do or they don't exist, I think is not fair. I think you have to look at the
Yeah,
situation and you have to look at what's going on around, and really critically look at things. Um, and thank you, Yo Baby Blondie. We appreciate that. Um, and we appreciate you all watching. Looks like we've got one more on here that we're going to share. So let me cue that up. And if you guys are interested in seeing more of Vickie's evidence or following along with her, again, check out Reflections of the Paranormal on Facebook and then Reflections of the Paranormal on TikTok. Do you primarily go live on TikTok or do you do both?
no, I just post what I get. I haven't done live. I could have went live like I don't even know how long ago, but probably about a year anyway. I've not done it. It's just like I love talking to people face to face, but I just
Yes,
I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean.
Mhm. Now
Okay.
this is also the Gainesboro house,
Okay.
and when you look, you can see a mist, and it has a person's body. And what I'm doing here is I'm holding my hand out, and I said, "Hey, can you come hold my hand? Can you come take a picture with me?" And you see the mist, and it's got an outline of a full figure. And as the photos are being taken, you see it kind of like walk away, and the mist kind of dissipates.
Now, did you? Yeah, because that
Hmm.
it gets clearer.
Uh huh. Yep. And
Now, did you see that in the moment, or was that
then
something you saw when you were going back on your pictures?
I saw it going back, but I looked at them right after we took the photos.
Gotcha.
We kept having little things go off, like the REM pod sitting in the chair, and we kept having things go off at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Knew something was over there, and I was like, okay. I was like, here, take my phone, take these pictures, and I'm talking. So I'm talking with the spirits. Please come hold my hand. Please allow me to take your photo. Will you please come stand with me?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? No.
That's awesome. That is wonderful. Well, Vicky, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight and taking the time to share your evidence and talk. I know we could probably get into a whole bunch of different topics just sitting there talking, but I appreciate you taking the time that you did and sharing what you captured.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And thank you all over here in the chat room so much for your questions and your comments. I mean, it's just it's always so much more fun when everyone's interacting and everything. And so thank you all. We really appreciate that. Like I said, we are kind of wrapping up the year. We have another wonderful live guest next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Mr. Lawrence Milano from Mondo Docs, and he's going to be talking about some of the new projects that he's working on, talking about some of his this guy puts out some amazing documentaries and is a great investigator. So definitely hope you guys will tune in for that show next week. I'm trying to let me see if check my calendar here. I want to see if I think the next week is leading up to yeah, the one after that will be the week between Thanksgiving, or excuse me, between Christmas and New Year's. So I don't have a guest just yet for that, but I'm working on getting that as well as leading into the new year. Got some great guests lined up here for January, and so if you are someone who is in the audience there, I am booking for January and February, the end of January, leading into February. If you're interested in coming on, please feel free to reach out to me either on YouTube or on Facebook. But like I said, we definitely have some cool guests lined up, and we're working on getting other bookings for that as well. Speaking of bookings, be sure to get your dates in at the historic Scott County Jail and historic Rugby Inc. Especially if you want to take advantage of our extended hours, that will be from January 2nd through May 10th. If you want to get an extra 2 hours on your investigation. So check all that out. You can find all that information on the Historic Scott County Jail Facebook page, Historic Rugby After Dark Facebook page, historicscottcojail.com is where you'll go to book, and then also historyhighwayshaunts.com ghostbiker.com, and that will lead you to both of the pages as well, so you can find all that information. If you have any questions, reach out to me on the Ghost Biker Explorations Facebook page, or you can message me on the Miranda Young Facebook page, and we'll get you answers to your questions that you're looking for. So until next Thursday night, I hope everyone has a wonderful and blessed time. And again, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us. So we'll see you next Thursday.